Flyers preseason and training camp is nearing its end, and unsurprisingly, the roster battles are coming into final focus. We're getting a read on who's going to make the team and who's not. I'm Charlie O'Connor with PHLY Flyers, and these are your Flyers post-practice notes. So when we arrived today in Voorhees at Flyers practice, the main camp roster, the remaining players at camp, were divided into two groups, and the groups were telling in terms of understanding who still could make the team and who seems like is on the outs. Basically, if you were in the first group, it looks like your days at Flyers training camp and your chances of making the Flyers roster, they're numbered. If you were in the second group, which is pretty much the entire NHL roster plus a few bubble guys, you are still alive in the race to earn an NHL job. So it was the first group, the cut group, that hit the ice first around 11 a.m. Most of the names in that group, not too much of a surprise. We had guys like Alexei Kolosov, Carson Bjarnason, Devin Kaplan, Anthony Richard. These are players that no one really thought had a serious chance of making the team unless they really blew the doors off or injury struck. But then there were others. Other players who, at different points in camp, seemed like they did have a chance of making the big club, but now it seems like those chances have gone up in smoke. For example, Helge Grans was in that group. Now, Grans entered camp as one of the presumptive favorites to earn one of the open jobs on defense. He was waived yesterday, cleared waivers today, skated with the extra group, let's call it, today. Seems like Helge Grans is not going to be a Philadelphia Flyer to start the year. Emil Andre also in that first group. He played 42 games last year for the Flyers, was really impressive in that first stint, but it doesn't seem like he will be making the team either. Perhaps the biggest name in that group that skated at 11 a.m., Alex Bump. He was also a pre-camp favorite, came in with a ton of hype, obviously won the national championship with Western Michigan last season in college, was very impressive in development camp, opened eyes in rookie camp, but when the chips were down, just doesn't seem like he did enough to earn a spot. Now, at least as of Tuesday afternoon, they hadn't been officially cut, but Rick Tocchet strongly implied after practice that those cuts might be coming, and that group, we were right to assume that they are the next to go. Okay, so those are the players who are not long for the Flyers camp roster, but who still has a chance to make the big club, who remains in the mix out of the guys who are on the bubble. Okay, let's start with the forward position. It looks like there are four players who were skating with the main NHL group today in Group 2, the big group, who still are in the mix. We have Nikita Grebenkin, Rodrigo Abels, Jacob Gaucher, and Jett Luchanko. Now, in theory, the Flyers could keep as many as 3 of these 4 players. They might only keep 2. It depends on whether they want to keep 13 forwards or 14 forwards, but they certainly are not going to keep all 4. So at least 1, maybe 2, aren't going to make the final roster when it comes out early next week. Out of the group, though, Nikita Grebenkin looks like a lock to make the big club. He's been impressive dating all the way back to rookie camp. He has NHL experience. He played in the NHL a bit last season with Toronto, has pro experience in the KHL. And today when they ran lines, he was skating with Sean Couturier and Travis Konechny. That is a dead giveaway that he's a guy they're expecting to be in that opening night roster. The forward with the next best chance to make the big club out of camp, my guess is it's Rodrigo Abels. He's appeared in all 5 Flyers preseason games so far, scored a big goal last night. He's been impressive, and it really does seem like he has earned his way onto the big club. Maybe as an extra forward, maybe even in the opening night lineup, but he seems like he's done enough to make it. Which leads us to the big question. Will 2024 first-round pick Jett Luchanko end up on the big club? We'll see. I thought he had his best preseason game of the schedule on Monday night, so he's definitely trending upwards, and I do get the sense the Flyers, all things equal, would like to see him make the big club out of camp, at least for that early season trial. But he hasn't blown the doors off either. The offense really hasn't popped, and the other guy in the mix, Jacob Gaucher, has made some plays in a limited role. There's even a world where both Luchanko and Gaucher could be on the outside looking in. That would mean Luchanko would go back to the OHL to go play in Guelph. If the Flyers only keep 13 forwards and they figure that Grebenkin and Abels have earned those spots, then Luchanko, in addition to Gaucher, could be missing out on a roster spot, but we'll have to see. They could keep 14, they could keep 13. We'll have to see how it plays out over the next few days. Okay, so what about the defense? There are 3 bubble players still here. Some people considered Yegor Zamula a bubble player, but Rick Tocchet confirmed today that he will be on the roster. He basically said that he sees Zamula as the number 5. That leaves 3 bubble players battling for spots. We've got Adam Yinning, We've got Noah Juleson, and we've got Dennis Gilbert. And Yinning has had a low-key, strong camp. He's impressed in practices. He's looked mostly fine in preseason games, and I thought last night, Monday night against Boston, was his best preseason game yet. He has serious momentum, and today he was on a pair with Yeager Zamula, who, as Tocchet noted, seems like he's pretty much a lock to make the team. You would think they would be pairing him with another guy who they see as a near lock to make the team, and right now, that just might be Adam Yinning. Which brings us to Noah Juleson and Dennis Gilbert. Both were signed in the offseason as veterans. Both have NHL experience. Both are big players that bring physicality to the table. There might be a spot only for one of them, though. They were paired together today, so we'll see who comes out of that race on top, or if the Flyers choose to keep both of them. They try to roll with, say, 8 defensemen. Rick Tocchet did say today he prefers an 8 defenseman lineup, an 8 defenseman roster. That said, might not be the call that Danny Briere ultimately makes, especially if he wants to try to keep Luchanko on the opening roster. If it comes down to one of Gilbert or Juleson, though, you would think Juleson probably has a leg up. Juleson played for Rick Tocchet over the last 2 seasons in Vancouver, and Rick Tocchet, after Monday night's game, named Juleson specifically as someone who impressed him. Just seems like Juleson has a bit more momentum, and he has the head coach in his corner, and that can't hurt. And we're closing in on final decisions. The Flyers only have 2 more preseason games left in their slate, both home games on Thursday night and then on Saturday night, and then it's full speed ahead to prepare for the season opener next Thursday against the Florida Panthers. Flyers have some time to make their final decisions, but not too much time. We'll see who makes the cut ultimately. I'm Charlie O'Connor with PHLY Sports. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.